core media. Blockchain news, crypto crews, and interviews, keeping you tuned in to the ecosystem.
Core, harnessing the benefits of technology for the good of humanity.
Welcome to tonight's Core Radio Show. Tonight we're serving up something pretty interesting. It's the technology coming straight from SuperNet, straight from JL77, explained by Gruel, questioned by grewalsatinder, and our voiceover for this evening, who will be JL77, is our very own Prints. So,
hey!
Prints, hey, what's up, man?
Not too much.
All right, so
Brew, how's it going, bro?
You're gonna be.
Hey, this is grewalsatinder. Yeah, I'm good.
What's up, fellas? All right, so we got a gang of people over here. It's like a party.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be like a Shakespearean, so just get ready. It's gonna be amazing.
All right, so
Maybe not, but
we're gonna be talking all about iguana. All right.
Yeah.
Gruel, can you
Very well.
Can you give us a little introduction to iguana? Goreval.
Yeah, that's correct.
Grewal.
Don't call me Grew because I have already grown.
Goreval, can you give us a little explanation as to what we're diving into here with iguana? What is iguana? I know it's part of SuperNet.
Well, Iguana is a tiny piece of software written in C language, programming language, by James Lee. His name or alias is JL777. So what this piece of software does is it runs on your system and allows you to run multiple blockchains at once, at the same time. And it works better, faster, and more secure than the other implementations we have seen around, and run on your servers. It's flexible to run it anywhere. It will eventually also support your mobile devices. You can run it on there. And as light and as flexible, secure, that's in short I can say.
interesting.
That sounds pretty awesome, man. How long have you been working with Iguana personally? Have you done any work with it?
Well, I'm involved in testing of the software. I joined SuperNet Slack back in around June or July or something, maybe before. And since then, I've been following this project, and wherever possible, I try to help. Sometimes some persons say, okay, I need some help with this server setup. I try there. Then another person or another task there they say is, we need some kind of documentation setup so that it could be automated or something like that. Sometimes some tasks come up like, we need some tasks to be tested for different platforms, like if this kind of application runs on mobile or not, or if it is possible to go that way or not. Or sometimes I help like setting up task description or something, helping Noash to describe the task. At some point, some here and there kind of stuff, but I'm not involved as a team member, but I'm kind of involved as just a person like you guys are. You are just watching from the sides, and whenever there is some call you pick and do that. So that's kind of a stuff that I'm involved in Iguana system.
It sounds amazing, bro.
Yeah, but it's a cool project.
I have a technical question actually, and we'll probably get into this maybe in the questions. But now you're saying that this is very slim. The software is very light. Now it runs multiple blockchains. Now how does it import these blockchains? Are they hosted on separate servers or platforms? Or are they locally hosted somehow and truncated in a way, or what exactly? How does that happen?
So how does any blockchain runs? Any blockchain runs, it needs some, a piece of software which runs on your system. With that piece of software, you get lots of different libraries which does different kind of works. Such as it connects to different peers. There are libraries which helps you connect to different peers on the network, on the internet. It helps setting up the database, synchronizing the database with another networks. So many another kind of stuff there is just in one piece of software. And all of these kind of features and functionalities are in every kind of blockchain technology you will find, from Bitcoin starting to another ones. And Bitcoin derived many of these technologies from the existing ones. Some from torrents, some from cryptographic technologies, and so many other places. So what this Iguana software does is it calls on those existing nodes of some X cryptocurrency, which are already running around, and it just strips data from there and convert those to some bundle of files. There is no such thing as database in Iguana. It just fetches the data and stores in a static, non-changeable files of bundle. So this is totally a custom solution that James built. So because of this, there is no glitch we can find, which glitch means to say there's no performance issue we find in Iguana due to database management systems that we could expect in another Bitcoin or blockchain softwares. So that is why it is so much fast to store, manage, run these blockchains.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we can run multiple blockchains at once. We can say download a full database for a particular currency through Iguana to our system, or we can say there are already some other Iguana nodes who are hosting that database with them. And we can say, okay, I want X cryptocurrency to be fully loaded on my system, but another Y currency I do not want to be fully loaded. I want to use it as a light mode. So it will be sending query and transactions to those Iguana nodes who have the full, database with them. So that's full node, and Basilisk, which is light mode of nodes. That's how it runs.
That's really interesting. That's neat. I mean, that answered my question very thoroughly, actually, and that's really cool.
All right, guys. So let's go into the deep technicalness of this. Satinder is going to ask JL77 some questions. All right, and Prince is going to be JL77's voice. All right, guys, because we all know JL77 is anonymous.
Yeah, but I just want to let people know that this is, I tried to be very generic to these questions. I was trying to ask these questions from the generic point of some person who is getting, new to this SuperNet technology. Right. So that somebody that's opening a door and coming inside the room and say, he finds a lot of weird stuff around and he says, okay, what am I doing here? What is this everything around? It seems like interesting, but what is this stuff? So such kind of general questions I just ask because I'm also involved in community. I get in touch with JL77's work, so I knew some technologies. So I also kept those technology questions to the level as be technical. But in the end, when I read all those, but in the end, when I read all those questions and answers, I found it's not a general interview. It is a technical interview. So expect it to be more of a technical than more of a general. The reason is my questions will be a general, but the answers to those questions is not technical. Those are technical, and you can imagine that these are coming from not from a marketing guy or not from some teacher or something, but it is coming from a technical person. Yeah, from an architecture. He is building a universe for us in this crypto space. So expect this to be technical. So I hope you guys understand, but I try my best to. Yes. So yeah, that's how it is. So yeah.
All right. So let's dive in.
Cool. So let me ask from the first question. Okay, so James, those who have been with NXT and SuperNet know who you are and know for how long you have been in development in blockchain technology. For those who might be listening to you for the first time, can you please tell us something about yourself?
I write C code, lots of C code. I like to fully understand things so I don't have to rely on others to tell me what something does. I am stubborn and will keep working on a problem till it's solved.
Oh. So can you please explain in your words what is SuperNet as a technology so that even a grandpa could understand maybe? And what does SuperNet solve for a regular person?
I don't think I can describe the technology in layman's terms. However, the goal of the tech is to make blockchains as easy to use as Apple products.
Fair enough. Is SuperNet being developed only for technical geeks, or should a regular person give it a try to understand as well?
Well, mass market adoption is obviously needed for crypto to achieve ultimate success. So that means it needs to be easy to install and use. So, yes.
Yeah. So how long has it been in development?
Over 2 years, but I work 16-hour days, 7 days a week with just a few days off. So over 2 years for me is like over 5 years for most. I've written almost 200,000 lines of code for SuperNet, but the majority has been deprecated. Also, my C code is said to be about 3 times denser than typical C code.
So how did you come up with the idea of SuperNet, and what inspired you to work on this technology?
Back in 2013, there were very few crypto projects that weren't just Bitcoin with a few changes. But there were a few projects with active development, but due to the ease of making a new Bitcoin fork, that's what a lot of projects did, and they were detracting from the projects doing actual advancements. To solve the ease of use issue, it needs to be present a single interface to the user, not hundreds of different coins. Most grandpas do not want to deal with more than one currency.
Yep, for grandpas, we have to make it easy.
Yeah.
So let's get to the next question. So that is, what are the problematic issues that you noticed with Bitcoin and its later descendants that you thought SuperNet could solve?
Well, Bitcoin is hard to use, even as a developer. Things like multi-sig are there, sort of, but not really. The low-level Bitcoin D doesn't even really know about multi-sig addresses. It deals with things at the script level. For example, is this script for an unspent output validly signed or not? And it isn't actually dealing with balances and addresses. So there was a lot of code to write to catch up to the existing Bitcoin code. But I had to do that as the current Bitcoin code is not practical for mass market usage. It isn't easy even for experts to install, let alone grandpa for that matter. There are many cryptocurrencies, and there will continue to be more and more due to the low cost of making a new one. People simply make lots of money off of it. However, if a single interface is needed, that means the proper design is to have a single piece of software be able to talk to all the coins at once. This is what Iguana does. A single thing that at the same time can talk to many coins at once.
Sounds really cool. Okay, so there are many other projects, big and small, trying to make better versions of blockchain technology. We have seen Litecoin after Bitcoin. We have seen Ethereum smart contract blockchain managing money in a smarter ways. We have witnessed one of the biggest crowd sale of decentralized autonomous organizations, so-called DAOs, with a whooping $150 million raised only to see if it gets hacked in the end. It's a very dangerous and a risky technology to put money into. What do you think about it? And is it still a good time for people to invest into blockchain-related projects like SuperNet?
Well, it's not a good idea to group all crypto projects into the same category. Like during the early days of the internet, there were a large number of really well-funded companies, and most ended up as footnotes But Google, Facebook, and many others have come to be very good investments. BAO was a particularly dangerous investment with half a dozen known attack vectors. For now, I would suggest a diversification strategy to make sure that you have a stake in all the promising projects, but stay away from the others that have a large number of unaddressed security flaws. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and never invest more than you can afford to lose. There's a lot more work to do, but good advice nonetheless.
That's always a good advice, not to put your eggs in just one basket.
Mm-hmm.
Give some to others.
Totally.
Okay, let's get to next question. What is Iguana?
Well, Iguana is the core of the SuperNET platform. It implements many layers of functionality, starting with the Bitcoin protocol, but all the way up to smart chains.
Okay, and what are the features of Iguana?
Well, it would take a long interview to go over all the features of Iguana, but the most obvious is that it is fast to sync blockchains. And those of you who have synced, anything, your Bitcoin wallet from Bitcoin D know how much of a pain that is. That was my little addition. But given enough bandwidth, the entire Bitcoin blockchain can be parallel synced in about an hour. That is for the entire blockchain, not just catching up for a week or two.
Yeah, good. And how Iguana is more smaller and faster than Bitcoin and other blockchains? What magic you put into it that other blockchain developers yet have not? Can you explain in terms of regular Bitcoin user, maybe?
Well, I wrote everything from scratch in C. The total code base ends up less than 2 megabytes for the basic node, and about 3 megabytes for a node with all the advanced features. I didn't write the crypto primitive code, but used existing libraries for that. But other than crypto algorithms, Iguana Basic Node uses only pthread as an external library. The version that enables advanced features currently depends on curl, which depends on an SSL library, but this is used only for accessing websites. Iguana does not use the database to store the blockchain. Since the blockchain doesn't change after it is fully confirmed, using a database is not the most efficient, and it's typically the bottleneck for performance. Since everything was written from scratch, whenever possible, I made things just a bit more efficient, and it combines to be able to do a lot more with a lot less overall code. Most programmers don't code in C anymore and rely on higher level languages to do the time-consuming details. This saves time when coding, but ends up with a less efficient final product overall. C plus lots of libraries has a similar effect. So using my C and no external libraries, especially no database, is probably the main enabler for a much smaller footprint. Being in pure C, it is possible to compile Iguana to be a Chrome application. The reason it is so important to reduce the resource usage as much as possible is that Iguana needs to talk to so many coins at once. So whatever overhead it takes to deal with one coin, it will take n times as much to deal with n coins.
Good. Like the part of Chrome application.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think I know of any other project which runs full blockchain, and that too multiple blockchains, just a browser, a web browser. That's one nice feature to have. But many people doesn't like Google Chrome due to different reasons. Are there any bottlenecks of having a full blockchain application running in a web browser? Does Iguana support any other browsers, or will it? Is there any minimum requirements to run Iguana in a web browser? Can it run on any low-powered notebooks, like Chromebook maybe?
Well, non-Chrome browsers will be able to be supported using EM scripting once it supports pthreads. Experimental versions already do, so that should be possible soon. If Chromebooks run Chrome apps, then Iguana Chrome app should work, but I haven't personally tested this because I don't have one. I am limiting the Chrome app to be a Basilisk node, as loading any application via Chrome is not very practical, especially if a smartphone that uses expensive bandwidth is used. Basilisk is essentially Iguana codebase, but it is in a special mode where it asks random Iguana full nodes for help. These Iguana full nodes will do some things for free, within reason, but there will be services that the Basilisk nodes will need to make very small payments for. This allows for a self-sustaining network to be created, and also the fees will be market-driven. So if one Iguana node starts charging a lot more than the other Iguanas, then the Basilisks will just not ask that expensive Iguana for the remote calls.
That's Good info. So let's get to the next one. Well, it's mind-blowing that Iguana doing such things.
It really is.
And still being so tiny in size, and even running in a web browser, being able to install and run with just one single click, and can run multiple blockchains at same time. So which blockchains Iguana have tested so far which runs with it? Like Litecoin, Dogecoin, Namecoin, Dash, Monero, NXT, Ethereum. These are top currencies that comes to my mind at the moment. So are those all supported with Iguana?
Well, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Dark are the two reference currencies I developed Iguana on, doing my best to abstract any differences. I added Litecoin and Syscoin one day to make sure other currencies can be added without much work. I also have it syncing with Zcash testnet right now, so this covers most of the range of the Bitcoin protocol coins. However, non-Bitcoin protocol coins are not directly supported by Iguana, so things like Monero, NXT, Ethereum won't get native Iguana support anytime soon.
Well, if we get a support for Zcash, that will be really amazing. Because Zcash is the next, interesting blockchain project, which is already popular in developers, because it's covering the anonymity of its users. Okay, so it's really interesting stuff. So does that mean running all these multiple chains, we also get all the extra features those blockchains provide, like with Namecoin, we can register and use a decentralized DNS system, .bit. And with Monero, we can do anonymous transactions, etc. So will we be able to have such features with these blockchains running on top of Iguana Core?
Well, Iguana only does common denominator Bitcoin protocol. So any enhancements of a coin are beyond what Iguana knows. Special code would be needed for each enhancement. What this means is that the coins that have the most changes to Bitcoin, like Syscoin and VPN coin, will be the most work to support. But it also means that any plain Bitcoin fork will be fully supported by Iguana.
So, Basilisk, I heard about this word in our previous conversation. So Basilisk is a light mode of Iguana. Is it like the Electrum light wallet of Bitcoin? Would that be right to say? What other modes there are in Iguana?
Not exactly. My understanding is that Electrum needs special servers. Basilisk is decentralized, and there is no special server. It queries the Iguana full nodes, so it is more similar to the SuperNET light wallet.
Very true. Yeah, making decentralization more decentral. Okay, so smartphones like Android and Apple only support Bitcoin and such wallets which does not hold full blockchains on it. Do you think Iguana can do that? Do you think it will ever be good to run full Iguana nodes with bulky blockchains on mobile phones or tablets maybe?
Well, I doubt Bitcoin will ever become practical enough to store entirely on a phone. But with Basilisk, there's no need to. The only downside is that it's a bit slower to do new transactions. But the time savings of not needing a blockchain more than makes up for it. So Basilisk nodes are fully decentralized and trustless. The only information it's requesting from the Iguana nodes are publicly available. Well, actually, it's one level up at the Block Explorer level. So Bitcoin D does not include Block Explorer level data. You need to add that code to get that. With Iguana, Block Explorer access comes built in. In fact, you can query the balance of any address at any height, which I'm not sure even blockchain.info allows you to do. Most people aren't even aware of the low-level nature of the Bitcoin RPC and don't realize that an entirely new layer of abstraction is needed to create balances for addresses.
It will be really cool stuff to see what my balance was at some certain date, like what my balance was at 2 years ago when I was at some event or something. Yep, that's something which I do not find anywhere in any Block Explorer. That's really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so which is my next question. So Bitcoin and Bitcoin Dark are the main currencies of Iguana. Is that correct? In case if I don't have any Bitcoin or Bitcoin Dark and I want to use some other currency like Litecoin or Dogecoin, does that mean I need Bitcoin or Bitcoin Dark? I won't be able to use any other currency without them?
Since most of the services will require a small amount of Bitcoin Dark, without it, you would need to at least convert some other currency. I plan to have easy ways to automatically convert small amounts since it's paying for transaction fees and basilisk fees. The total amount will not require precise market-based exchange rates that atomic swaps would. That being said, it probably would be possible to use the free mode without any currencies at all. With the auto conversion, I don't see it as any practical barrier. Which is interesting, to have a cryptocurrency wallet without any cryptocurrency.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get to the next one. I have invested in multiple crypto projects. So I hold many cryptocurrency wallets and sort of tokens of crypto shares, or so-called NXT assets, like shares in stocks. Does that also mean I can have all of these cryptocurrencies which are supported by Iguana can be just hold in single wallet?
Well, it wouldn't be realistic for Iguana to immediately support all possible crypto investments due to the large variety. But starting with Bitcoin and all compatibles is a good start. Long term, that is the goal, to have a single unified view or wallet for all crypto and to be able to view it in terms of the user's local fiat.
Okay, so I have multiple wallets with me with encrypted password protection, and some are multi-signature. I think I can move them all to Iguana and still have multi-signature wallets? Do I have to log into each wallet in Iguana to access my cryptocurrency?
Iguana can import priv keys. So by importing all the various priv keys into the same passphrase encrypted wallet, then a single login will provide access to all the different priv keys. Unlike Bitcoin, where the wallet is only the priv keys, but all the transactions are done by these priv keys, in Iguana, it is only the priv key that is stored. What this means is importing a priv key is a matter of seconds, not hours.
Okay, so I'm getting on to 19th question now. Can I also hold my NXT assets in Iguana?
Unfortunately, Iguana does not directly support the NXT protocol at this time. Unfortunately.
That's fine. There is still a thing which sounds confusing. You said Iguana is a core of the SuperNet platform. What do you mean by Iguana as a core? Does that mean SuperNet is something else? What is SuperNet then? Please help me clear this confusion.
Well, SuperNet has a core holdings aspect that is independent from its tech, and in fact is usually trading right around the value of these holdings. What that means is that the cost for all future potential is near zero. Technically, there are several layers of software, and Iguana implements many of these levels. But it is convenient at times to talk about just one specific tech. For example, DEX. So even though DEX is technically part of the Iguana codebase, it is operating at the DApp level using the Iguana core.
So are you talking SuperNet as NXT asset? As we know, there is an asset named SuperNet in NXT exchange. Or you're talking SuperNet as some decentralized network? I will come to SuperNet asset questions further in our conversations, but yeah, let's look over that.
Well, there's SuperNet as the NXT asset and is also trading on Poloniex as Unity. So SuperNet has several meanings. It is probably more precise to use the appropriate lizard terminology to drill down to the specific tech.
So I'll just stick to some lizard technology terminologies. Okay, so that's fair. I see this conversation is going a bit technical. So as the subject itself is so technical. So this one is just a general questions before continuing on Iguana topic. I watched a video of Andreas Antonopoulos, who is the writer of Mastering Bitcoin book. He said in his video that it took 10 years of difference between and his mother to use email. He used email through Unix commands in 1990s, and his mother just swiped a button on a tablet and sent email using that. When you think we will be able to see such easiness of blockchain technology, do you think we will still call this technology blockchain in the future? Like years ago, we called internet, and we still call it the same. What is your opinion on it?
Well, I think blockchain in the future will be a lot like TCP/IP and HTTP, under the hood details. Really what the blockchain tech will become is most money things. like bank accounts, etc., along with other use cases that are suited to solve. Abstracting the blockchain, it's the ability for a group of people that don't trust each other to cooperatively make everybody have the same numbers. This relates directly to public funds and budgets, auditing, but the first step is to allow a button on a tablet to do crypto to buy something.
That would be really amazing.
Yeah.
So this sounds interesting. You mentioned DEX, which I understand stands for Decentralized Exchange. Is that correct? Tell us something more about it and what it is and how it's useful in Iguana, what different it's bringing that other projects like NXT, BitShares, or Counterparty isn't bringing.
Well, DEX, it's short for Instant DEX, is the atomic cross-chain swap that's built into Iguana, well, on top of the Iguana core. DEX will directly exchange crypto coins in your local wallet, so there's absolutely no need for an intermediary. You will always control the coins, even when using Basilisk.
So, if I'm correct, there's another technical feature in Iguana named Gecko. Is that correct? What is Gecko?
Gecko is a lizard name for the smart chain, which is a dedicated blockchain for a single specific application. There have been some notorious incidents with dApps gone wrong, and Gecko's approach isolates all issues specific to the single dApp into a single smart chain. That way, if anything goes wrong, it only affects that single smart chain, and it won't drag the main currency into some hard fork controversy, as there is no main chain that is the master of all chains. If there is, then it's sort of a centralized decentralization. It's a contradiction. The meaning of the main chain, which is decentralized, is compromised, and all subordinate chains are then compromised. With smart chains, they're all isolated from each other. This radically reduces the amount of data that needs to be stored. Each Gecko is a specialist that knows only its own smart chain, so no need to store data or bother with any other Gecko, unless you want it to. However, all these smart chains are backward compatible with the Bitcoin protocol for basic coin operations, and they can interoperate with each other, including atomic swaps.
Well, yeah. That's really a wow moment for me. So this whole stuff sounds crazily innovative. To my knowledge, I don't know any other single blockchain project who offers cross-blockchain exchange. I saw some threads on Bitcoin Talk forum regarding atomic swap, and it's nothing like asset exchange. If I have some Litecoins, and for example, I have to pay someone in Bitcoin, it's like I'm just sending that person some amount of Litecoin, which automatically converts to Bitcoin and gets paid to that person. Is that there's no middleman like Western Union if we take analogy of fiat money in this crypto coin exchange. Is that correct? This whole atomic swap exchange is automated in Iguana, and is that already coded in Iguana, or what is the status of it?
You're correct. Even the other blockchain projects that allow for exchanging typically use an intermediate asset. I actually pioneered that 2 years ago with Multi-Gateway, MGW, where there is an asset that represents the Bitcoin. Then you can trade the asset trustlessly using the asset exchange. This requires depositing the Bitcoin into MGW, getting the BTC asset, and then using it to get back into BTC. You need to withdraw the asset. Atomic swap skips even the step to convert to an asset. It goes from wallet to wallet. Today, I am debugging this automation. I originally required that you are running a full Iguana node for both coins to be able to atomic swap. But that means if you want to swap Bitcoin, you need a full Bitcoin Iguana node can sync much faster and still uses up a lot of hard drive space and system resources due to the monster size of the Bitcoin blockchain. I develop on a very slow MacBook Air, so I detect when the code is slow and I can't run a full Bitcoin Iguana as I only have 20 gigabytes of disk space free. What that means is that I need to get atomic swaps working for Basilisk nodes. Once I get it working, it would mean that anywhere in the Iguana cloud a coin is supported, then all Basilisk nodes will be able to not only have wallets for that coin, but also atomic swap using the DEX. There is a real-time auction system that I made recently that simplifies the process of doing a DEX swap. You basically submit a form that says you have X amount of coin A, and you want to swap it with coin B. This sends the query to special relay nodes, and I'll explain more about these special relays later if you ask about them. All the nodes that are liquidity providers would then get your request for a swap, and if they have inventory available, they'll publish a quote. This is all out in the public, so all the nodes can be watching all the other nodes to make sure there's no funny business, or even attempt at funny business. Your node will be watching the network for the best quote, and if you set a minimum acceptable price along with automatic mode, then after 30 seconds, it will start the atomic swap with the highest price. If automatic mode is not set, then you need to select from the list of quotes before 60 seconds. Time is short because the prices are changing quickly, and this is just a start to the process. To complete it invokes a fairly complex protocol that includes waiting for blocks to confirm, but the idea is that once you agree to the swap, both sides will automatically process things until the trade completes, or if abandoned by one side, then reclaiming all the funds. Analogy is directly swapping dollars for euros without any middlemen, and it's secured by using the atomic crypto protocol, so you don't have to worry about sending any money and not getting any money back. Worst case is that you get your money back. Pretty good worst case scenario.
Yeah, so that's a long answer for, we expect that. It's a technical one, so yeah.
That was a long one.
Yeah, and that's a complex process as well, so yeah, it makes sense to explain it in description. Okay, so let's get to the next question. So while asking, I was excited, and this is how I wrote. And now these smart-ass Gecko smart chains. These sounds more like Ethereum. And is it anything like Ethereum? You develop some kind of smart contract running blockchain using Iguana. With Ethereum, the developers developed a Solidity language, right? Smart codes. Does Iguana does Gecko Smart Chains also use such kind of smart contract language to develop decentralized applications?
Well, I use C that is compiled directly into the smart chain. Since each Gecko is independent, you could just fork Iguana and add enhancements and publish an announcement on the smart chain. Other nodes will be able to connect to it or simply make a Basilisk request to it. So all the low-level infrastructure is in place, and that allows projects to do just the 10% that is different about their enhancements and inherit the backward compatibility with Bitcoin. All with the power of the Iguana API, of course. I forgot to describe the virtual chain versus the private chain, actually. The asset chain usage is expected to create a lot of relatively low activity blockchains, and it doesn't make sense to have to run many physical nodes to keep the chain running. That's where virtual chains come in handy. The actual hardware to run the smart chain can be done by the full Iguana nodes. They don't need to know what the contents of the transaction data means, just whether it's validly signed or not. So that means you could just start a new chain without any VPS nodes at all. Of course, your smart chain is making a lot of usage of the Iguana nodes. They'll notice and likely require payments over and above the fee to create the chain. At that point, you can either pay incrementally or just start running your own nodes, in which case it operates as a normal altcoin. There will be a cost to create a new smart chain to cover node costs. But a 6-letter smart chain would cost 1 Bitcoin dark, so that's less than the cost of 1 month VPS for a single node. The fee is shared between the Crypto 777 asset and the Iguana nodes, and it goes up to 10 times for each letter smaller. For example, 10 Bitcoin dark for 5 letters, 100 Bitcoin dark for 4 letters, and 1,000 Bitcoin dark for 3 letters. I don't expect there'll be many 3-letter smart chains that aren't built-in ones like DEX, other than the few reserved ones. As you can see, the Iguana nodes are the workhorse nodes and have many ways they can earn fees from the rest of the ecosystem.
Okay, so that's another chunk of detail we need to grasp. Gecko smart chains are still a big concept to grasp. It's getting much technical here. I read about side chains of block streams, which will run alongside Bitcoin blockchain and will do the same kind of things like atomic swap, micropayments, etc. So why does Gecko Smart Chain sound so similar concept to sidechains? How it's similar or different to sidechains? But you said there's no master chain of any Gecko Smart Chain, and no hard fork no hard fork of main chain can change or affect Gecko Smart Chains. That on its own looks like a breakthrough. How far it is in development?
Remember when I said Iguana can run many coins at once, like running Bitcoin and Bitcoin Dark and Litecoin all at the same time? The Gecko are like a totally new altcoin, so this isn't any side chain, but its own chain. Now, the smart part comes from whatever enhancements to the Bitcoin protocol that a specific Gecko does. I have things set up so you can add new script opcodes, create a daily overlay to encode an arbitrary command set, even add new network protocol messages, all directly into the smart chain. This is a compiled approach versus the interpreted approach that is used by scripting smart contract systems. With a compiled approach, the developer just codes what the dApp needs, and only what the dApp needs. Any language that creates linkable object files can be used, but of course, I code mine in C. The DEX dApp is less than 1,000 lines of code, and I expect a lot of apps can be done with relatively small amounts of code, much less than 1,000 lines. A simple case would be an asset chain, where the smart chain only does basic coin operations and things like dividends. The coin for that chain would be the asset and would secure itself using a 3-stage process, starting with proof of stake using itself. The problem with small blockchains is that their security is rather weak and they are subject to attacks, for example, double spends. Gecko solves this by using DPoW, and it secures the smart chain using the massive Bitcoin hash rate. But details on this is still being finalized, so I'll have to find another time to explain in depth. Currently, I have a smart chain table able to be created via a single Bitcoin Dark op return, and it starts minting new blocks. Transactions are accepted, and it uses the Iguana codebase, so it's Bitcoin RPC compatible. However, the smart chain code is still young, and I'm prioritizing getting DEX swaps working first.
Well, one after another, good chunk of details we are getting. Okay, so let me get to the next one. So the next question is number 28. So you are building instant DEX smart chain, which will also work as an asset chain. And you are putting smart programming codes written in C, this smart chain. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly? Many developers use different programming languages and have their own preferences in choosing a programming language to code with. So can a web developer who's more comfortable with JavaScript type of coding develop a smart chain and write smart programming codes in his or her smart chain? Or what other programming languages does smart chain support?
At first, making customized smart chains will require coding in C. However, I aim to make things configurable via JSON whenever possible. So depending on the use case, it might be possible to just use an API call to create a custom smart chain. Technically, any language that can create object files or libraries that can link with the Iguana codebase can be used without much trouble. I guess even JavaScript could be used to create all the C functions using EM scripting. But I'm no expert on JavaScript, so I'm not sure about all the details of that.
Okay, so it's all getting mixed up around here. So can you please give a quick difference between a smart chain, asset chain, a virtual chain, and private chain in Iguana?
Absolutely. A virtual chain is one that has no physical nodes and runs a Gecko chain. For example, Iguana full nodes will process the transactions and mine the blocks. A private chain is just a virtual chain that has dedicated nodes using a real internet port. I'll try to allow mixing a virtual chain and a private chain, and in that case you can start without any physical nodes, and then as the usage goes up, add physical nodes. An asset chain is a special case of the virtual chain, where the coin represents the asset for one. A smart chain is a virtual chain just with special enhancements. Basically, at the low level, there needs to be a pure Bitcoin protocol coin that is either running virtualized or with physical nodes. Once you have that, you can add smart features, whatever can be coded in whatever compiled language.
Right, that clears a bit on all these technology their terminologies. Mm-hmm. Okay, so smart chains, with smart chain letters like DEX, do you mean it is similar ways like exchanges list a cryptocurrency with a 3 to 4 letter name? And these letters has to be named within the length of 3 letters to 6 letters? Why you put cost on smart chains creation based on its letters? And is that cost one time to create a smart chain, or it's a periodic cost? If so, how small or long period of cost it can be?
Well, things like USD, EUR are more valued than Bob USD, for example. Rarity makes 3-letter names 10 times more rare, as there are only 26 letters and you can use case-sensitive and even numbers. The thinking is that anybody that wants to make a USD chain will have a bigger budget than someone that's going to make a Bob USD chain. Also, this is a deposit for virtualization services. Deposit will last a varying amount of time depending on how active a chain is, but I want to price it so that running a virtual chain is the most cost-effective way, even compared to a low-cost VPS. Also, there are DPOW costs of making Bitcoin and Bitcoin Dark transactions that need to be covered.
That clears on the cost question. I think this already is a long conversation on just Iguana technology. You said running a full Iguana node will earn fees for serving Iguana network to create and manage smart chains, and completing Basilisk Iguana nodes transactions in return of charging some fee. Which cryptocurrency this fees? Do I have to buy a cloud server to run a full Iguana node? Or my regular home laptop can be a full Iguana node, which is not accessible publicly?
You can sporadically provide Iguana services, but of course you'd only sporadically earn fees and you wouldn't be able to be a special relay node, and those get the first chance to earn DEX fees. The fees get paid using the natural currency for the service. If you're asking for a Litecoin transaction to be created, then it would be denominated in Litecoin. When there's no natural currency, it would just be defaulted to Bitcoin Dark.
Okay, so I think it's already a long conversation on just Iguana technology. It's an amazing work, James, and that you are putting into SuperNET project. May we know who is working in Iguana team?
I work on the core, and I get feedback from Anonymit, Come From Beyond, and Tier Nolan. Van Burek is doing the servers, wiki, and testing, and we have a GUI team. Other than Vineet, I'm not familiar with the personnel.
So that's next question, which is very, expected question in whole community. So that question is, when can we expect or when can we have a taste of Iguana Wallet? Why it's getting delayed? And as we are hearing of Iguana Wallet in development for some time already.
Unfortunately, I cannot answer questions about GUI. Okay,
let's go to the next question then. So why is it taking so long to develop SuperNET technology?
How long should it take to develop what I've developed so far? If you know a way to complete it sooner without spending many millions of dollars, please let me know.
Your answer. Okay. How do you see Iguana technology evolving in next 5 years or so? Where it might be? How do you envision its later evolved versions?
In 5 years, it should be fully integrated seamlessly wherever it makes sense to have crypto or privacy. The easier it is to use, the harder it is to create.
And the next question is important because James is important to this whole project. So this is question number 36. So Bitcoin cryptocurrencies developer Satoshi Nakamoto left his creation after taking his project to some good level, in good hands. I hope you won't mind if I ask this question, that you think the same can happen with SuperNET project? You leaving SuperNET at some point? Do you think it's possible?
I have no plans on leaving SuperNET. Certainly not before there's a team in place that can do a better job than I can. And if that actually happened, then I imagine my creativity level would go up 10 times, as I wouldn't have to spend all the time on coding and debugging.
Well, we expect your creativity and level goes up, and we also get some solid team on Iguana as well.
Absolutely,
we always
I agree.
Want James. Yeah, we always want James to be. Okay. So, next question. What features we can expect to be available in Iguana Wallet first? And what will be the features which will be coming in later versions? How you expect these features to be released happening with different timeframes?
Well, as I said before, I cannot answer GUI issues as I am having my hands full with the core.
That's also fair enough. Because the best technical skill that one has, it's best to add there. And James is doing pretty fine with he's doing amazing with his C skills and developing Iguana core. So yeah, I agree. So let's cover some questions related to SuperNet asset. Can you also explain in your words what is SuperNet as an asset, how it manages its value in market?
Well, at supernet.org /nav.php, there's a summary of the major holdings that SuperNet has, and it's updated in real time as the market prices change.
That's good to know. And what other official assets SuperNet has? How will they earn and pay dividends? When can we expect those assets to start paying dividends? Is there any certain timeline for them?
You can look in the SuperNet and SuperHodl accounts to see which assets it has. It's a long list that I don't it's a long list. I don't memorize it. Each asset has a different purpose and a different way to monetize. I can only speak for assets I'm personally doing the tech for. InstantDex, Next Privacy, Pangea, Next CoinSco, TradeBots. Dex will be earning fees from the atomic swaps. Next Privacy will earn revenues from a currently secret project, hopefully for a winner. Pangea will need to be after the first round of tech is released, as it has some additional requirements. TradeBots assets will get a rev share from InstantDex, as will MGW. As far as the timeline goes, it would be after the corresponding core tech released, and in some cases a GUI is also needed.
Who are partner projects of SuperNet? For example, NXT Free Market?
Well, digitalcadillaxy.com /report 2015 HTML should have a list of all that.
Yep, that there is a good list and good description of all those projects and related. Yeah, so it's a good place to look at the PDF which is available on that address. So let's get to the last question. So this is, manage any of those projects which are partner of SuperNet? If no, who manages them?
I'm not managing any other projects, and I don't do GUI as I can't work much more than the 16 hours a day that I already do. Maybe when I'm done with the core work, I can think about doing some more active managing, but not sure why I would manage external projects.
Yeah, that's fine. Just managing our own projects is fine. Your own projects are even enormous in size and vast in technology. I don't think it's good to say you managing other external another project. So
I'd have to say that James has his hands full, and we, would it feel good to have James Lee on let's say
SuperNet?
Ethereum?
Oh, no.
I don't know.
Yeah. It's always just good to have him here.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah. So this was the whole interview, 41 questions that I covered in text interview. At that time, it took me more than 6 hours or even more with a little breaks in between. Because James was busy and he was doing some work, and he was also answering me there in a private channel. So yeah, I thanked him later, and I tell him I still have more technical questions I could ask him. And he said, "You're always welcome. You can ask them again. I'll be here. This is the space." And I said, "Okay, that's for later then. Thank you for your time, and thanks for your patience and answering for this long text interview." It was
maybe
amazing.
We'll have a part 2, coming up. You never know.
Yeah, we never know.
Well, I mean, I'm very honored that I was able to speak, as James Lee today. There was some very impressive technology mentioned in this interview, and a lot of very interesting concepts to wrap your head around. Actually, what it really reminded me of, I'm not sure if you guys have watched, there's a show on HBO called Silicon Valley, and it's about a tech company releasing a compression platform called Pied Piper. And Iguana reminds me a lot of Pied Piper's project, which is basically just, it's compression, but essentially what Iguana is, it's blockchain compression at its core. Like it's
making it more easier.
it's ultimate compression, really. So I just wanted to mention that. I thought it was a very interesting correlation. Maybe James Lee watches Silicon Valley. I'm not sure.
Well, I always find him on his computer. Who knows if he watches TV while coding?
I don't know. There's probably no time for TV, right? Who knows?
Even on New Year's Eve, he was on computer.
Oh, that's some love. That's
you would
like
say
me
what
and
you
music.
were doing on computer.
Yeah.
And you would say what you were doing on computer, because I also live on computer.
Right? That's funny. I'd be playing guitar. That's like my dedication to music. I don't know.
Here's our buddy Lutz.
Yeah, Lutz, what's up, bud?
I'm still here.
Okay, cool.
I thought you sleep.
Nah. Even I was getting there, but no, that technical stuff really.
I hope.
Really knock anyone out.
Well, I hope I covered those questions not so technically. I tried to be, and I hope people also understood some technical, terms that James covered. But in case you guys have, or anybody has still those questions regarding this technology, I follow this technology very closely. I'm every day sitting in these SuperNET Slack channels and learning about this technology, exploring it, because I'm using this technology in my project. It's called SuperMesh. So it is my need to know this project. So in any case, I could be of any help of clearing some doubts, any possible ways I could help of to my skills. Anybody is welcome to ask me.
I will ask you. Will you be my wife? No, I'm just joking.
Nope.
Whoa, you took away from
my crypto myth. No, I don't know. It doesn't work like that.
Well, there was a wedding on which was registered on blockchain.
Oh wow. Oh yeah, no, I saw that. That was pretty interesting. The blockchain wedding. That's some interesting applications of blockchain technology, that's for sure. We'll have to include that in our next show, a summary on the blockchain wedding.
All right, guys, I'm going to conclude this. Thank you, Prince. You did an excellent job. And Gruel?
Very well.
Gruel.
Yeah.
All right, bro. Thanks. You're amazing, and I hope that this helps everybody out there understand Iguana just a little bit better, if not a tiny bit better.
I think they'll get a lot better after this. I mean, I'm astounded by the information that was brought across in this interview. It's Iguana is it's a groundbreaking project, and we're going to see some pretty amazing shit coming in the next year, I think. Don't you agree, Lutz?
Yeah, man.
Well, I'm thankful to both of you, because you spent like more than half of the day just to record this show with so many glitches and problems, because this interview was totally different and was harder to do than other usual interviews that you guys might have composed or done before. It's totally from text to speech. First we tried text to speech software, didn't work, and then we tried making a person doing some other voice, didn't work. Now finally we got John, and his voice is amazing. Yeah, natural, totally. You are doing really amazing. You are like, you are truly, you do DJ yourself. That really suits your job. So you are doing amazing, man. I really like this. So thank you.
Well, more good things to come. I look forward to future shows with you as well, Gruel, and we're just gonna rock this thing.
Crypto space.
Rock the crypto space.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Thanks both of you.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Have a great night, and I'll talk soon. And everybody out there, don't forget, we have a lot more coming. Core Media is probably going to be number one on everyone's list. Peace out.
Stay tuned.
Bye.
CoreMedia.info. Your sexy smooth media channel. For up-to-date crypto news. The real deal sex appeal.
Sexual sound.